What's going on? I was watching this first part one of Stephen A's interview with Kevin Garnett. Pretty entertaining for the most part, but it's some things that I noticed that Kevin Garnett started talking about uh, where I had a call cap. All right. So what I'm about to do is I'm gonna play his. I'm gonna play KG when he come back because he said something and then he got up for a quick second, and so now he's about to come back and start saying some stuff about the old school era. So let's listen.
Bro, we gotta get off it, bro. Bro, we gotta get off this. You know what, Steve? I say this, bro, and I say this. And I say this to the world. I'm glad we own it. Sure. Bro, we gotta get over this. Michael Jordan, Magic, they are the past. We gotta embrace this new-ish. Bro, we ain't never seen Steph Curry. We ain't never seen nothing like Steph. We ain't never seen it.
Okay, a couple of things. One, embracing the current NBA and forgetting about the past, or recognizing that times change. I understand that. The issue with that is that the media and the young fans often bring up Magic and Michael, especially Jordan. They the ones that talk about them the most. And if you go on social media, a lot of those Facebook pages, it's filled with young fans that never saw Magic play, never saw Jordan play, definitely never saw Jerry West and Bill Russell play. They all talk about old school NBA. Why is that? It's because of the media. They the ones that put that stuff out there. So those of us that grew up watching old school basketball understand times have changed. We don't like what we see. The game is not played the way it's supposed to be played. So, we're gonna say something about it. We're gonna speak on it, especially if we are online. Now, just to keep it all the way 100, most of the people that was born in the late 70s and before, or I'll go as far as saying maybe the mid 80s and before, go all the way back to the 70s and the 60s and 50s. Most of them don't care about basketball like that no more. Most of them not even on these platforms talking about the game. Most of us are, moved on to other stuff. We may watch the NBA a little bit, but we don't really. It's not that big a deal. We might engage in conversations like I do sometime, and it's just because I'm still young enough to remember Magic, Jordan, in the '80s era, and the '90s era, and the 2000s era. So I'm on the social media a lot, going back and forth with people on different topics, but that issue is more of an issue with the media and young fans bringing that up. So, I guess he needs to speak to himself and all his colleagues as far as forgetting about the past, because, as far as all of us concerned, the past was better. The best of the NBA is behind us. The best of basketball is behind us. So we just look at this little preschool soft era and just kind of laugh, or it may be a few good games every now and then. I think over the last few years it's been showing potential of getting better, but really the last era of traditional basketball was the 2000 era, from 2000 to about 2010. That was the last of real traditional basketball. Now he started going in about Steph. We ain't never seen Steph before. Here's my issue with that. The rules have changed. We, back in the 80s and 90s, we had a lot of good three-point shooters, especially in the 90s. We had a lot of good three-point shooters. The difference is that it wasn't allowed to just shoot threes. The game was played different. We could take Steph's dad, Del Curry. he had a magnificent 3-point shot. Now imagine if Del Curry was given the green light to just fire away any shot, anytime, with 16 seconds left to go on the clock, just pull up from anywhere on the court. You'll see some of the same stuff. You know, you'll see it, and then let's go into the '90s with Abdul Abdul Rauf, formerly Chris Jackson. Same type of style, same game. He had a really good three, but he really wasn't like superstar status. He had potential to be, but he was never superstar status. Him and Steph game is basically the same. The difference is Curry is allowed to shoot threes from anywhere on the court, and Abdul Rauf wasn't. Now, does that take away from Steph being a really good shooter? No, he's still one of the best shooters the game ever had. But don't sit here and act like, we haven't seen it before because it wasn't allowed up until recently. So don't sit up here and act like, what we seeing is special, because when in reality it's not. Now, had the 80s and 90s, had they been allowed to play the same style where they could just jack up threes and if they was playing that style, then I can agree. Especially if they wasn't hitting the shots, if they was able to just jack up shots and they not making them, then I would agree with Kevin Garnett. But in this case, the rules have changed, times are different, just like you said. So we ain't never seen it before because it wasn't allowed before, and it's as simple as that. So let's listen to the rest of what he had to say.
You never seen nothing like Stephen.
We never seen it.
Shoot some balls, bro. We keep talking about Jerry West. Shout that Jerry West was a super goon, did great things for the league, but yeah, we're in a new time, bro. Jerry West ain't never seen this type of range. You can't
well, let me push back. Let me push back with my perspective on that, because I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
We need to embrace this greatness that's before us. Fuck, excuse my French, but fuck what happened last year. And we want to make some parodies, some comparisons to, you know what, he did it in 82, he played 65, I get that. Non-practice versus practice, the development, what he should be like at 27. Bro, all that's out the league now, bro. These young boys are killing all that. Bro, LeBron just hit 39,000 points, bro. Bro, we ain't never seen nobody hit 30.
But let me.
All right, let me say something about that real quick. LeBron thing. Okay, LeBron is one of those players that grew up. I think he was born probably in 83, 84, 85, something like that. I can't remember. I know he was born in the 80s. He grew up playing a traditional style game. He got drafted in NBA. NBA was still playing traditional basketball. There was still a balance of inside, outside, mid-range game. There was a lot of people in the paint clogging up the paint. And LeBron was still able to get in there, get in the paint, and do his thing. He was, much younger, stronger than he ever was early in his career, especially when he got to Miami. So the game was played a lot different, right? So now going into the latter part of his career, the game's changed so much. There's no big man in the paint. You can't even touch anybody, so he can run all the way through, and still be effective. He can still get to the hole. He can do everything that he's been doing because the game is much softer. But he's still not not the player he was in Miami. He's still a different player. Even his early years in Cleveland, he's still different. But what the NBA is doing is they changing the rules to create this longevity thing because it allows them to make more money off the players. Imagine if they lightened up the rules when in the 90s, when Jordan was playing. Now some people will argue, oh well, they did. No, they didn't. They may have allowed him to get away with certain fouls and not call certain travels or whatever, but the game was still physical back then, and it was still played a lot different. So LeBron right now is able to benefit from a softer NBA and them and no big men in the paint. So his jump shot is good, so he's still able to score. I give him that, but this longevity thing is overrated. I don't think LeBron, uh, if the game was still traditional, LeBron is probably retired in 18 years, maybe 16, 17 seasons, if they play the traditional style, But, right now, he could keep going. And I think the other part to LeBron still playing at the age of 38, 21 years in the league, is the fact that he got sons that's trying to get into the NBA. He wanted to do something special, and I actually would love to see this for him. I think it'd be cool. He want to play with his sons, either on the same team or play against them. It's never been done before. That would be huge. I would love to see that, especially if both of them could get in the NBA and he run with them for a little bit. The game is soft enough to where he can do that. He got enough clout in the NBA where he can pull that off. So part of what we seeing is just him trying to stick around and play with his boys. But he probably tired of all this stuff and want to get to something else in his life. Who knows? But let's continue.
Let me throw this back at you. Totally agree with you. But my retort to that would be this. The game started in 1947. If I sit up there and I say, of the thousands upon thousands of players, I think MJ's number one and LeBron James is number two all time. Whether you disagree or agree with me, I'm not disrespecting you by saying you're number two all time. You see what I'm saying?
That's what that says when you say that. That's what I'm saying.
Why?
Because someone is looking at the body of work. Okay, let me ask you this. If you've never seen it before and now you see it, what value is that?
That's exceptional.
It's exceptional when you've never seen it? When you never seen it? So let me ask you this. You've never seen a Bugatti. A Bugatti put up beside you in a car. What value is that?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you put a value on that.
We ain't never seen Steph Curry. Never. Name one motherfucker look like this. Never. We ain't never seen a nigga 38, average 30, and then got 30 out there. We ain't never seen that. We ain't never seen a 76 nigga nutmeg.
But we did see a motherfucker sit up there, excuse our language. We did see a motherfucker win three-peat twice. After three-peated, then took a year and a half off, then came back and three-peated again. I mean, it all depends on how you measure it. I'm looking at Steph, greatest shooter on the planet Earth, 4-time champion, league, 2-time league MVP. I'm looking at LeBron, 4-time league MVP, 4 championships, 10 trips to the NBA Finals. It's absolutely positively sensational. But in the same breath, so is 6 titles in 8 years, so is 10 scoring championships, so is 9-time All-NBA defensive team. That's not insulting anybody is what I'm trying to say. It's appreciating all of the greatness.
Yes, but I'm telling you, in the midst of where we at now, moving the game,
okay.
That's how they're thinking. Jordan didn't do this. Listen, this is what I'm saying. We're missing out on the league being picked up and carried. The league is being carried into another place where none of us, Stephen A., everybody that's 50 and under have never seen none of the stuff that's going on. Now, do we say shot selection has went out the window? Productivity, the kids ain't playing more games than we did. Guess what, Stephen A.? The R&D has been in. What we did in, matter of fact, let's break it down like this, 70 to 80s. Drug infested, man, David Stern did an unbelievable job. He had made those alliances with those guys. He made the league play 80 to 90. Super.
Let me stop this real quick. Here's one thing I hate, and you always see this online. What does the drug-infested aspect of it got to do with the game? It's just a way to discredit those players at that time. Some of them players probably played better because they was on the drugs. How about that? But that, to me is reaching. I don't agree with the whole drug aspect of it or them bringing that up because you see that a lot. And that's something that, it's cool that the NBA fixed it, or at least they did something about it, or made efforts to get them guys some help. But I wish people stop bringing that part up because it's not that has nothing to do with the game itself. If anything, those guys they probably played better. I haven't heard any reports of guys uh, not not being able to play because they was high. I never heard anything about it affecting guys' productivity. None of that. It was just a part of off court battles that some of these people had. It's no different than a lot of these guys. Well, I don't want to say it's not no different, but I'll say that a lot of guys in the NBA and in professional sports period had issues off the court, whether it was with drugs, with women, with whatever vice that they had. They struggled with something, but what happened off the court didn't affect their productivity. So, that's my take on that. Let's continue.
Probably, if not the 70s, the more roughest part of the league back. I mean, back before with George Mike and they were just bowling each other in the face and you just play with a split lip, all that, right? When you get to 2023, bro, when we supposed to be floating and levitating, and I'm supposed to be able to get food right here that I ain't got to go into Beverly Hills and get, bro, we're in 224. Things are supposed to look different. The game.
None of that has nothing to do with basketball. This is why I call it cap and say the people these guys are reaching. It
Looks different. I don't want to watch Steph Curry doing Isaiah Thomas moves. No, I want to see Steph Curry doing Steph Curry 224, 225 moves.
I agree.
So that's where we at. We're missing out on greatness because we're so hung up on those 6 championships. You think Mike Jordan was talking about Bill Russell when he was chasing 6? No, he was talking about what Chicago and Jordan and fuck Olajuwon and fuck. You know what I'm saying? He was
different
doing
game,
it.
different mentality. I agree.
We gotta embrace where we at. We gotta start looking at now. When we start looking at this new league, we the uncle, we the big brother, whether we want to admit this or not. We gotta start giving flowers out more. Like we gotta start. We critique game. We can critique your game. Hey, look, I'm looking for Anthony Davis. You gotta give me another gear.
Well, wait a minute. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad you went
there. So he gonna say, OG, how I gotta affect the game? Hey, OG, now here comes the conversation. And this is the build. This is what happened when you took OGs out the locker room. That knowledge from Sam Mitchell to Kevin Garnett, that knowledge was everything. This is what happened. This is what I'm saying. So in that, now you ain't got that. So now when you pull up and I watch your workout before the game, I can give you a couple jewels. I can come in here and say what up. That's what we need more. We need more of the old heads to come to the games.
But wait a minute.
We built the history.
But why you encouraging? Like for example, I saw what you had to say about Anthony Davis. I was saying same shit, and I'm going like this. I like thank God, KG. Now mind you, listen to the language. Did you hear scrub? No. Did you hear a brother that can't play? No. What you heard somebody like me saying, I said, no, I ain't gonna call him street clothes. When you get hurt, you get hurt. I'm not gonna disrespect a man like that. But I am gonna call his ass Six Flags because one minute you high and then the next day you low and you healthy. It don't make no damn sense. You Anthony Davis, when he healthy, KG, when he healthy, he top 7 players on the fucking planet Earth. On the planet Earth, this brother's that elite. And this is my thing, KG. How are you gonna be that great when you bring your A game and be okay with the fact that you got to be led by a 39-year-old in his 21st season that you asking to carry the load when you are fully capable of carrying that load? I can't tell you how happy I was. Well, I swear to God I have to have you on this podcast. When I saw you weeks ago going like this, yo, AD, what's up? What you gonna do? Now to me, you being big bro. You encouraging them. But in today's generation of players, you disrespecting them. That don't make sense to me, KG. That don't make sense to me.
Okay. Now, here's the thing in AD's defense. All right? Because we got to remember, I think that there are some skilled big men in the NBA. They just not allowed to play. Going back, I know a lot of people don't like, they got issues with Dwight Howard, mainly off the court, or what his off the court issues recently. But Dwight Howard could still play in the NBA. The problem is that the NBA has made a conscious effort to do away with the traditional big man and that style of play. They don't want people clogging up the lane. They don't want to see people backing up and shooting fadeaways and doing jump hooks. They don't want that anymore. Even though you still see it sometime, but they don't want that to be the dominant portion of the game. So that's why someone like Dwight Howard can't be effective because Dwight Howard is a throwback center. He's a throwback big man. If they allow the players, the big men, to play their style of game, Dwight Howard can still come in the game and put up 25 and 15. Who's going to stop him? There's nobody in the NBA right now that could stop Dwight Howard if they let him play his game. So with somebody like Anthony Davis, who is a skilled big man who can shoot from the outside, he can shoot from, I guess, well, I was going to say the perimeter, but the way the game has changed, it's changed spectated differently. Before, in the 80s and 90s, the perimeter was considered everything inside of from 20 feet, from the basket to 20 feet. And then the outside was the outside. So, but he can shoot anywhere on the court. He can score anywhere on the court. And if they made a more conscious effort to dump him the ball in the paint and let him play a traditional big man game, you will see him be a lot better. You'll see him be more consistent. So that's my issue with today's NBA is, the big man. There's a few skilled big men. You got Jokic, who plays a traditional style, but here's the thing. Who else is in there with him? Where's his competition? Nobody. Nobody is as big as him. Nobody is as tall as him. He's the skilled big man. He could shoot. He could, he got a nice toucher on the basket. He could pass. He could do a lot of things. So I'm not trying to take away from him. But if you threw him, and this is where people this is what KG is talking about. He don't like if you throw him in the 90s, you throw Jokic in the 90s, he can still be effective, but he's not going to be that force that he is in today's game because there is nobody else. They won the championship last year because nobody could stop him. Murray did a good job, but nobody could stop their center, Jokic. So until the NBA gets back to playing that style, I don't expect a lot from the big man. I'm not a fan of the outside shot. I'm not a fan of the three-pointer. I'm a Bulls fan, as you can tell. So our center out there, I can't stand that dude. He's not a true center. All he do is shoot threes, and he don't rebound. He don't box out. He don't do none of the stuff big man that I'm accustomed to seeing. And that's kind of the problem when you are used to watching, when you understand, when you know traditional basketball, and you don't see it played right, then that's when, things could get frustrating. But, at the end of the day, it's a new era, it's a new league. And I will agree with KG, and I say this a lot on Facebook when I'm on there. When I see people talking about Jordan all day long or whatever, I'll make a post and be like, hey man, what about today's era? Why are you guys talking about this era? How come you guys aren't talking about this era if this era is the better era? Because they love saying 80s and 90s was weak and watered down. Okay, if it was, why are you worried about those players? Why are you comparing, saying who's the best out of Kareem and Bill Russell, or who's the best out of Anthony Mason and AC Green? Like, why are y'all worried about players from 80s and 90s if this era is so much better? So KG is right, but the problem is that people still want to talk about the 80s and 90s because that was real basketball, and the younger generation is enamored with 80s and 90s everything, not just sports. But let's continue.
It's just a different way you gotta relay it. And the
Okay.
younger ways, I'm being dead ass. Just like your uncle will come in and hit you in the chest. You're like, damn, man, what you on? Like, now nephew older, so you gotta talk to him different. The things that we would, real talk. Just imagine how we talked to each other 20 years ago. I'm talking about when I first see you. Well, hey. If somebody saw us, they think we was arguing or fighting damn near, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So this.
That's actually true. I've actually seen the police get called because some dudes was, interacting with each other just like KG just did. and somebody from, another culture or somebody just scared saw that and decided to call the police. And so they sitting there chilling and talking it up or whatever, and then all of a sudden the police come around talking about, hey, what's going on? We heard there was a fight going on. So yeah, it was a different time, man. Different time. But anyway.
Think that, you know what I'm saying? These are our kids. These are our kids. These are the kids that
we gotta adjust to them.
That's what I'm saying, bro. We're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're not about to hit somebody in the chest. No. You can't even use some of that yesteryear shit here. That's all I'm saying. All of us we gotta get the download. Some of us ain't downloaded the latest update to today. We're still in that same market. And I'm saying if you are critiquing someone's game, if you're critiquing someone's style and energy level comparisons of two, you saw those energy levels help that team go like this, like we're saying of Anthony Davis. And then two, let's be honest, you and I can't want this more than Anthony Davis. That's the real issue here. Yeah. We're talking with more conviction and energy here than that. So that's all we're saying here. We're fans and we're basketball enthusiasts. And this is that energy that comes out of that, wanting somebody's godness to be greater than what they're giving. So I totally get that. The problem is how we relate it and how we say it. And you know what? He might not be used to the punch in the chest. And hey, homie, you might be the one you gotta pull to the side, like, hey, look, big fella, I see what parts you can, and then you gotta go like this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I've learned to speak to young people, and that's right. My transition for me.
All right, now that's proof, in my opinion, that the NBA is much softer. Because he's absolutely right. Just in general, you cannot talk to people the way you used to talk to them back then and that message come through. Because, let's say he's talking to me like that or somebody in my generation like that, like he's talking about. We're not taking it personal. We know where that energy is coming from. We know what that is. He ain't trying to, punk us or talk down to us. He's trying to pump us up. That's what that is. But, when people you might have somebody say something crazy like, well, Shaq said something a few years ago about, I forgot that player's name on Utah. And everybody got on Shaq's case talking about he, being too hard on them and all this other stuff. And all Shaq was trying to do was motivate. Now, people might say, how would that motivate a player like that if you dogging him out? Well, depending on how you wired, some people will hear that and they'll be like, oh, you think I'm weak or you think I'm this? Okay, watch this. These players are not like that. This new era is not like that. So, it's a lot different than, it's a lot different than it was back in the day. Let's continue.
And let me break this down. Here's the difference between somebody in my position and somebody as a champion who's a brethren and a member of that fraternity like yourself. This is the difference. You can say that just like that. Because you're looking at it like, hey, D, what's up? You know how I'm looking at it? Yeah, the yesteryear point is valid. But here's the other point. LeBron is now. And we seeing this brother at age 39 in his 21st year averaging 25 a game. You gonna leave this brother hanging like that? Your brother, you gonna leave him hanging like that. You gonna make him go out there. You gonna make him get in the gym the way he gets and exert what he exerts and put that much on his shoulders because you know he wouldn't have to if your A game was there. You just gonna leave him hanging like that and see where I would sit up, where I would butt heads, for example, with my brother KG. I'm going like this. I know you wouldn't do it in front of me. But KG, you trying to tell me you in the locker room, you back there with them, you talking to them, and you ain't gonna go like this. Yo, what the fuck you doing? You know you all world. You know you can bust somebody's ass anytime you want to. You really gonna sit up there and give me 40 one night and 11 another? You really gonna do something like that? I cannot believe that KG would not say that.
I can't tell you what I would say. And what I would say to him would be probably between him and I would be encouraging though. I wouldn't call him no Six Flags, anything. And then
that's true.
We gotta be honest. This ain't got nothing to do with you. This ain't got nothing to do with me. Anthony Davis probably thinks that he's doing the best he can. He probably thinks, hey, look, I'm giving 100% to this. They thinking I can't get no more. I don't know, but I gave you what I gave you. And that's what I'm saying. Bro, if you don't look at it outside of the scope in which someone is giving it to you, you see the same, you see it how you see it. And that's what I'm saying. Anthony Davis probably thinks, hey, man, I just had 35 and 15 and 2 blocks. Man, that was a crazy night. Yeah, he might think that was good for him. He might think that. And you know what? It might have been good. We're talking about the comparisons of an older man and being able to carry and give this thing over to another superstar. Right. And that's all I'm saying. I don't think that he can. I don't think look. That's still LeBron's team. LeBron is still. LeBron looks bouncier than AD. I'm just saying. He looks younger. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying both of us.
Yeah, I'll say it right in front of you. I'll say it right in front of you. You know how I am about MJ, but I'll say it for you because you're my brother. I'll be like this. I have been watching LeBron lately, and I've been going like this. Oh shit. I mean, 21st season. What the hell is going on? You know, I have looked.
No, okay. Now let me just stop real quick, and I'm gonna finish it up. Summarize my point. The other part to this, the other component to this, and Stephen A. mentioned it on one of his shows not too long ago when he started talking about the business of basketball. Part of what you're seeing with the KGs and the and some of these other former athletes that are around the NBA is what you're watching is NBA marketing at its finest. And what they're doing is they are using these guys to promote a product that's they're trying to say that it's better than it's ever been. And if you have any sense of business and marketing, then you'll understand that part of the job is to make the product seem better than it's ever been, even when it's not. It's like that in any industry. So when you hear them start pumping up these players and making them say and using these stats, coming up with these stats and these different narratives to try to make it seem like a player from now is better than a player in the past, then understand that that's what you're dealing with is NBA marketing and them just trying to push the product. They understand that the demographics of the game is changing. A lot of the older players and fans, is different now. It's a younger players. It's a younger generation of fans, a younger outlook, and they're trying to cater to the future of what they want the NBA to be. So that's why you see these changes right now, and within these last, I say, 10 years or so, we've really dealt with watching the change of the NBA and the direction. They tried the super team era. That's starting to phase out. And as we've seen in the years past, it don't really work. So now, those players are getting old. Now we're coming into a different time frame. And I'm going to be honest, I kind of like what I'm seeing. I kind of can't wait till LeBron retire and Steph and all these guys retire, because I see signs of the NBA turning around and getting back to what it used to be. If they don't go back to traditional basketball, then they're going back to basketball, period. What I get tired of is watching all these threes. There's way too many threes, being shot. But, run plays. If you're not going to have players post up, or you don't want them posting up all the time, run plays, so, we could see guys actually showcase their skills overall. But just jacking up threes and all that stuff, it's, this is some of the worst basketball ever. The worst basketball ever. And these guys, some of the Kevin Garnett's and a lot of these other stars, you heard them say it on other platforms that, they always talk about how different the game is. And they always, the tone of what they say almost always indicate that they feel like the game is soft and it's worse than it's ever been. But, when they're on these platforms, they're going to say what they want. And don't be fooled by these so-called independent platforms, because Stephen A. Smith and all these guys, they still work for the system. They still are a part of NBA marketing and research or whatever. So they got to stick to their script. But they're allowed to, in an effort to create a level of I guess, credibility, to go off the script and speak on some other stuff, or maybe say some negative things about the NBA. And if you think about it, that's why they got rid of Mark Jackson and the coach Van Gundy, because they were often critical of the NBA. in this new style. And so, from a business perspective, they had to go because what company is going to keep people in, working for them if you're not on board with what they're trying to do? If you keep speaking against what they, the product that they're trying to put out there, you're not going to last very long in that industry. So, even though I hated to see them two go because they represented the last of our generation of fans and players and coaches and everything, but from a business perspective, I understand why they had to get rid of them. So again, for it's about pushing this new NBA, and that's fine. But just leave our NBA alone. Leave the '80s and '90s alone. Stop trying to downgrade it or denigrate it. Those are our stars. Those are our people. That was our time, our generation. Leave us alone.